Just got done playing some D&D like the nerd that I am. How many dice do y'all have? Do you guys have a dice collection? I have my little stash up here, but I could probably do with some more. What's up, everybody? It's your boy KLT back for another question of the day. Man, one more to go after today. This has been a journey. It's been a journey. I keep talking about it every time that I'm doing one of these starting out now, and it's kind of like, man, I'm almost to the end. But anyways, we'll get right into it. Question of the day today kind of takes me down memory lane. The question of the day today is, how many jobs have you had in your life? Now, for me, if I take a second to think about it, I'd say, okay, so let's see. I worked at 7-Eleven when I was a kid as a stock boy. I was stocking all the stuff. Then I moved to the movie theater, which was, man, that job was great. After I worked at the movie theater, after that was all over and whatnot, went back to school. And then my next job was at Toys R Us. Toys R Us was probably the most fun that I've had in a job in a long, long time. Like that mess was so much fun. That's where I met Kyles. That's where I met a lot of other people. Like so many people that I met there that I'm still friends with. That place was fun. That place was fun. Rest in peace, Toys R Us. After Toys R Us, I left Toys R Us after I graduated high school because I thought to myself, I was like, I can finally get a job in a call center. My dream. I was like, who wants that? So I went to right the moment I hit 18 almost, I started a job at, actually, no, I had a job before that. I worked at Wells Fargo processing home equity loans and lines of credit. So I worked at Wells Fargo for probably about a year or two. That's where I met Minkus and Moon and all those people there. That, man, Wells Fargo was a cool job too. But then after that, I moved over to VoiceStream Wireless. That was my first call center, actually. And then I worked there, actually became T-Mobile after a while. So that was my first call center job, going through a transition after a buyout. I was like, oh man, that probably doesn't happen too often. Lol. After I left T-Mobile, I ended up working at Adelphia in Colorado Springs. And Adelphia was bought out by Time Warner and Comcast. And then so for a while we worked for Comcast, and then Comcast and Time Warner decided to switch regions. And then so I worked for Time Warner after a while. So I was like, man, that buyout that I had at VoiceStream to T-Mobile, that won't happen again. It happened immediately after. Immediately after. But so that was that age. That's when I got my first apartment and everything too. During those days, man, that was fun times too. Man, so much nostalgia. But then after those, I went to I worked at Adelphia, Comcast, Time Warner for, I think it was 6 or 7 years, something like that. And then my boss left and took me with him over to PRC. PRC is now PRC Alorica. That's where we went and we opened up a bunch of new call centers that for Verizon, which was our contract at the time. And that's when I was going to first move down to Texas because we were going to open a new call center in Austin, and they offered me the management position of it. But we lost the contract right before I was supposed to go down. So unfortunately, that job dried up and I didn't get to do that. But I mean, it was still cool. It was cool knowing that I had gone up that high in call center areas and stuff. And I was like, it's cool. Like call centers weren't, I will never work in a call center again, ever in my life. I literally have nightmares of working in call centers. So call centers, I'm past that time of my life. I'm never going back to a call center again. And actually, after I think about it, I went back to a call center later on, but the next job that I had was after working through that was I went back to school, And so I had started school and I had gotten my, I don't know if I had gotten my associates by then or not, but I was in school and whatnot. Oh, no, wait. No, I hadn't gotten it yet. I had just started school and I started going to school and then I started working at the school. And that's when I started working in disability services at PPCC. And I worked there for, man, actually, I worked in call centers for probably 2, 3 years. I worked at PPCC for I think 4 or 5 years, something like. I don't even remember. Like I never kept track of time, but I worked at PPCC and Disability Services for many, many years. That job was man, I loved it. I loved the job. I loved the people, the students I got to help, and all the work that I got to do. Like that job it was great. I wonder where my old boss is now, Michael Newson. He is awesome. He would work himself to death, though. He would always do everything himself because he was the director of disability services, and he had someone that was under him that wouldn't do any work. He would always take him more work. So he always had so much work to do because he was the director and I don't know if it's vice director, I can't remember what the position was, but he wouldn't do any of his work. He would always take the work to him too. And so Michael would have double work and it just sucked. It was a bad situation, but Michael was awesome. Missed that dude. He was such a hard worker, man. He did so much. He was a cool dude. After Pikes Peak, where did I go after Pikes Peak? After Pikes Peak, after I got my associate's degree, I actually moved to Japan. That's when I moved to Japan. And so I went to school out there, and then I was just teaching English out there for a while. After I came back from Japan, I went back to Pikes Peak for a year because for some reason they wouldn't let me quit my job when I moved to Japan. So I went to Japan, and then when I came back, they were like, "Hey, you want your old job back?" I was like, okay. So I took my old job back in disability services, but it had gotten a lot worse since I had left. Like there was a lot more people in the office that just weren't doing their job. And Michael was working even harder than he had ever had before. And it was definitely a worse environment and situation than when I had left. And that was super unfortunate, but like I heard he had moved on after a while, so hopefully he's working somewhere that actually appreciates him and, has people to actually back him up. So I went back to PPCC for a while. After that, I actually left PPCC because I wanted to finish my bachelor's. And so I had to leave because some of the classes weren't available at night. Like some of them were only available during the day. And like after having taken a year off, like HR told me, they were like, "Yeah, we can't like move your schedule around and all that stuff for you." Like I was like, "All right, well, I just gotta go then. Here's my resignation." They were like, "Wait, what? You're just gonna quit?" I was like, "Yeah." So I left PPCC and went to finish my bachelor's at UCCS. And while I was there, I was working in the Office of International Affairs. That was a fun job too, because I got to help onboard all of our international students and bring in everyone from like all the different countries and stuff. We started up the program that's still there right now called iBuddy for the International Buddies program, and that program is still going. Super fun, lots of fun stuff came out of there. Met a bunch of cool people. It was awesome. And then when I finally graduated, I was just a work study, so I couldn't keep working there. So when I graduated, I left. And with my bachelor's degree, I wanted to join the Peace Corps. The problem was that I signed up for the Peace Corps and I was ready to go, and they picked out a place for me and all that stuff and whatever. So I was like, cool. I was about to leave, and we were going to go to Ukraine. At that time, Ukraine was about to get invaded by Russia. So all of those plans got postponed. Everything got pushed off. And so I got sat in limbo for like a year. So unfortunately, this is the time where I went back to a call center again because I literally had no plans for anything other than to join the Peace Corps. And then I had like no money. I was like, oh, well, what am I supposed to do? So I went and worked at Progressive's call center for a year because it's just a call center job. It was whatever. But I reminded myself of it. Every day reminded me of how much I hate call centers and phones. This is why I don't like phone calls. Don't ever call me. ever. I do not want to be on the phone, period. I've had enough phone calls and time on phones for the entirety of my life. Don't call me. But so I worked at Progressive for a year while we were waiting for the Peace Corps to pick up and tell us when we can go somewhere and whatnot. Eventually, the Peace Corps came back and shuffled us around. I was supposed to go to Armenia, but then other people that got sent out of Ukraine were sent to Armenia first, so I got pushed out of Armenia again. And then that's when I went to Albania. So I went to Albania for my tour of duty in the Peace Corps. And then after leaving the Peace Corps, I came back, worked for the Department of Higher Education in Colorado, and I was doing mentoring in the foster kids program for the Department of Higher Ed, which was awesome. It was just it was like weekly. They would come and tell me, hey, our department spent too much money, and since your contract came in last, you might be getting cut. And then we were doing like all these job cuts. Everybody around me was getting cut, and they were like, "Oh, well, we don't know how much longer we can hold your position. If we could have your position, oh no, your position's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh no, wait, this week your position might be gone. Oh well, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, well now we might be out of money again." And I was just like, dude, I was living in Denver. I can't go without a job in Denver. Denver is super expensive. So I had to start looking for a new job. Well, nothing against the people that I worked there with in higher ed. I love that. I loved that place. That place was awesome. Like, I loved the Department of Higher Ed. If there was something else that I could do there, I would stay. I would go back. Who knows? But that was a cool job. I really liked that. That's when I applied for the EDA, the Economic Development Agency. So I was a Fed. I worked for the federal government for a year. That was awesome. I was really into that, but it was an office administration job, and I feel like where I was in my career at that time, I felt like I took a really big step backwards because I was falling into my comfort zone again, and I didn't want to do that. And so, like, yeah, I was good at my job. Everybody loved me. It was great. I loved the people I worked with. But I put myself in a position where I was literally stagnating myself again. I was just, autopilot. Go to work, do this stuff, leave work. Go to work, do this stuff, leave work. And I didn't want to do that again. I had done that before. And, I was looking for, like, challenge, things that I could do. And at that time, that was when we had a president in the office that was always trying to cut our budget and remove our department and take our whole department out altogether and blah, 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 blah. And then some money came to us and we could do some some development projects and whatnot. So we did that. But then on the other hand, he was still trying to get rid of the department and like not give us budget and that stuff. And I was just sick of it. Like, I was sick of that. And like I said, I just didn't want to be in a position where I was like, going backwards career-wise. So that's when I started. I had already been taking like voiceover classes and doing all that stuff, just learning how to do stuff at that time simultaneously. So I said, you know what? I really want to try and see if I can put some stuff together to work VO as a job and actually do some things with it. So I moved down here to Texas to try to get into some stuff, and I actually got my job that I have now, which is working in esports, which is freaking awesome, but COVID hit. So I'm hoping that this year I'll actually be able to do some stuff with my job that I was supposed to have been doing for the last year. I will actually hit a year for this job in 2 weeks. So this is my current job, and this is my current world, waiting for me to be able to start running some actual esports events and things like that for this job, like I was supposed to have been doing right before COVID hit. But so that's my entire work history. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. I don't think I missed anything, but I could have. It's possible. But I think that's my entire work history, every bit of it. And if you send someone a resume with all that, you got to type it into an application online anyway. But if you have a long storied work history like I do, hit the like button and let me know that you've also have a wealth of knowledge and experience behind you. that you can put to work at any job, anywhere. And if you don't, and you're still working at, like, if you've been at one job for your entire life, like it's been your career, that's awesome. Hit the like button and let me know that you are very steadfast and trustworthy, and we can count on you to stay put in one place for your entire life. Either way, just hit the like button. If you've ever had a job, hit the like button. That's a better idea. But that's it for today. This video is already super long, so let me get out of here. I will catch you all tomorrow. The very last question of the day. If you have any topics that you would like to hear me go off on for the last question of the day, put a comment in the bottom and let me know what you would like to hear. But other than that, tomorrow is the final question of the day. And until then, peace.